Hello! Today I invite you for my first video about Chopin Mazurkas, the complete cycle of Mazurkas, which I'm right now preparing for the recording, which is going to probably happen in the summer. And I decided to make a kind of project of explaining my work and the masterpieces of Chopin Mazurkas for anybody who wants to know something more about them and who wants to know the attitude of a concert pianist, personally my attitude to the mazurkas. Why mazurkas? Mazurkas are probably my favorite genre of Chopin's music, and that's because these pieces are the most sincere of all. Chopin himself called mazurkas his own diary, and so we kind of know and feel that he is sharing his soul with us and with the world through the music. He never really wrote a diary, but for him music is the language. So this way he expresses his solitude, his missing his country. When he was 20 years old, he left Poland and he never came back. He was always thinking about his homeland and remembering how he was dancing when he was young, the wedding parties and with his friends, and that were the best years of his life, his teenagerhood. And so of course we can imagine how lonely he felt. And I think especially these days, at this time of the coronavirus and quarantine, when many of us can't visit our parents and our relatives, we feel how Chopin could have felt that he really couldn't see his parents, his beloved sisters and friends. In the Mazurkas we have everything, and my plan is to present for you every single Mazurka, starting from Opus 6 and ending to Opus 63. There will be many of them, and I hope it will be interesting. I will also try to make it quite easy, not only for musicians, so that I hope you enjoy my presentation and my project. Now we start with Opus 6, number 1. This is the first mazurka that Chopin published, and this mazurka, we don't exactly know when it was written, because it was published in 1833 when Chopin was 23 years old in Paris, but we are quite sure that it was written many years before. Why? Well, first of all, already in 1830, so 3 years earlier, Chopin is writing about this mazurkas in a letter to his father. And we also know that Chopin was improvising a lot when he was in Poland. He was improvising a lot of folk Polish melodies and dances. He was playing for people to dance, and the folk Polish dance music was inside him. So he could have written that when he was 15 or 16, we don't really know. And then later made a little bit changes. Anyway, definitely these young mazurkas by Chopin are very different from older, much more mature. Here we don't really feel this deep sadness, this very typical for Chopin, the word sorrow, in Polish żal, a very famous word which describes the Chopin's music. We don't really have it here so much, even though the first mazurka is in the F sharp minor, so it's a minor key, which means the set key. Well, generally about mazurkas at first. Mazurkas are poetic pieces of music based on Polish folk dances. There are three main dances that are based, that the mazurkas are based on, and these are oberek, very fast, and people when they are dancing, they are running around very fast in the oberek. Then we have mazur, which is also fast, not as fast as oberek, but fast with a very characteristic, very sharp rhythm, and the slow kujawiak. Kujawiak is more the waving way of dancing. So in this first mazurka, Opus 6 number 1, is very special because Chopin is using all three dances. Of course, in a mazurka, the composer can decide which dances he wants to use and how he feels what is the best in the story that he wants to tell. And here we have three different dances. It starts from the waving kind of kujawiak, so a slow dance. This is the first phrase, we can call it phrase A. And what is so special about this phrase? Well, first of all, as I said, the waving means the going up and going down, going up, going down, as if we are waving, so up, down, up, down. We have two very short melodies which are, this melody is being repeated 2 times. First time, and then the second time. This is as if somebody is saying something, but another person is not listening. You know, sometimes it happens in our life. We say something to somebody, but this somebody, I don't know, is on the phone or something, and it doesn't listen to us. So of course, we are getting annoyed. In this case, of course, the second phrase should be played a little louder, right? So we start very soft. Then we do a little more. And then do we have the second? No, we do not have. Chopin is changing because he thinks 2 times is enough. And then we have the chromatic scale coming down. Going down. Chromatic means that we use every single key going down. This has a meaning. Already in Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach music, this had a meaning of pain, of that we are struggling with something, we feel a deep pain. And here, well, here is not really pain because mazurkas are not that dramatic usually. But I would say this is like we are losing a good mood. You know what I mean? That we start with quite a good mood, but then, well, he doesn't listen to us, so we are. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm more and more sad. That's exactly how it is. And now when I want to talk a little bit about the rhythm, because this is the biggest challenge for me while preparing this mazurka for a recording. A little bit about the general thing about mazurka rhythm. Usually in mazurka, in the dances like oberek, kujawiak, mazur, the most important is 3. Because on the 3 we have the accent. Very often we have this kind of way of dancing when people are jumping and then they are kicking their legs, creating a sound. So that's a very special way of playing, and we play it this way: 1, 2, 3. We get a legato here, then we go up and down. Of course, we cannot do it every bar, every time, because it gets boring, and the Chopin's music cannot get boring. We have to decide, and this is the challenge for a composer, where to do it. Sometimes Chopin is telling us. For example, here in this mazurka, in bar 2, we have the accent on the 3, which means Chopin definitely wants this kind of 1, 2, 3. How it sounds? This is very important. It's very polished. This is not a dance. This is just the going down with the mood. And again the same. And then we have another phrase. listen to this phrase. We have 3 times the same. Boring, a little boring. Well, it's not boring, of course. But why it's not boring? It's because Chopin is changing the color. Listen to that. We have 2 times we have the dark color in the accompaniment. And then suddenly we are changing from this to this. Oh, it's like a sun is coming. It's really fantastic. Then how it looks. Here, in the third time, I see that Chopin is smiling while writing this. We have, this is the set. And now listen. I hope you can listen to this. It's such a beautiful chord. And then this is the end of the first part. So what I will try to do here probably is I will try to change the touch to create a different color in this smiling moment. Once again. I hope my microphone can show you this changing of the color. And now we have the second dance, which is oberek. So it's the fastest dance, and excuse me, this is the Mazur. The fastest dance will come later, sorry. This is the Mazur, which with the very characteristic, this kicking the legs, which is called in Polish hołubiec, hołubce, which means later, well, I will try to write down in the under the movie so that you can find it on YouTube. There are quite many very nice recordings of this hołubce. Very nice. So I will show you later. This is like a very, very strong, very, very masculine dance. Listen to that. Yes, and here we have this kind of for this hołubiec, which I said we need time. So that's why I play the first beat a little bit longer. 1, 1, and then we come back to the beginning. Back to the beginning. So here I think it's very clear to do the first beat more, and then in the second bar I'll do the 3 later. Tam, pa, tam, again like at the beginning. Yeah, this is very typical, very Polish way of creating the dance, folk dance. This is not written in the score. If I play exactly like it's written, that it sounds like this. Well, it can be played like this. The problem is it doesn't sound like a dance. So that's why we must do something. And this is the challenge with Mazurkas, and how Mazurkas, why they are so difficult, because we need to interpret them, and we need to interpret them very deeply. So this is what I'm going to do when I will be working on it. And then I want to show you now. We go to the fastest dance, the oberek dance, and it sounds like this. Yes, so this is quite difficult pianistically. This is the most difficult part in this mazurka. Well, we have the melody. Ta-ta-tam tam, ta-ta-tam tam, ta-ta-tam pam pam pam. Very important accent on the last note. Again with this kicking the legs together. What's so special about this? The melody itself is very simple, but what we have here, it's like a bird singing. or some kind of folk musician who is playing every time two notes, maybe not even as clear, right? And then we have this and the left hand is quite difficult because it has a jumps. So all together is very, very uncomfortable to play at the beginning and needs a lot of time to practice. If I play it a little slower, you can analyze it. Listen to this moment. Chopin is coming back to the beginning of the piece, and he's making a modulation. So he only needs 3 chords, and we are going back. This is the end of the story of this mazurka. So that's the first mazurka. I thank you very much, and next mazurka will be Opus 6 number 2. See you. Bye bye.